this in corporate plays. We'll groove through it all in funky ways. So join us now, let's find our way. Listen to bits and pivots every single day. Ooh, get money, get paid.
All right, coming at you, part 2 of 2 with Troy Munson, CEO of Dimmo, former account executive who is also a serial entrepreneur, had 2 or 3 successful exits where his companies were acquired, so he got some fucking money while selling full-time. So if you're into that, if you want to figure out how to manage your time, how to prioritize your time, how to perform at a high level as both an entrepreneur and an account executive concurrently, be sure to listen to the duration of my interview with Troy Munson. This is the second part, 2 of 2. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the podcast, and check out all the links in the show notes. Thank you. Bye.
What was your workload like at that point? Like, can you talk about like just working full time as an AE? Like, what are some of the Okay, let me ask it a different way, and let me ask a couple questions. Like, obviously, 9 to 5, you have this other thing that you're really passionate about that you're working on after hours. Like, how would you free up time for yourself during the day so that you had more time to work on referrals? So I would imagine like you really focused on getting more efficient as an AE and kind of like maybe deprioritizing some tasks that you would normally do that weren't really revenue drivers, and then really just shifting your focus on things that were really meaningful in terms of getting you towards quota. So do you remember like kind of what that planning was like, or what that time management philosophy was like at that time for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was at a startup company when I was doing this, and it's hard. Startups require more of your energy, more of your brain power than a larger company does, and I learned that while building Dimmo because I was at a large company, and so I I always recommend to everybody who wants to build something on the side, go to a large company where you're just a number and they don't really care about you. So,
Yeah.
anyways, when I built it, it was I remember it pretty vividly. When it came to time management, it was really just like I kind of mentioned earlier. It was like I need to prospect. So I was very. It seemed very routine and very it seemed like this automated workflow where I would wake up, I jump on LinkedIn, I would try to, again, LinkedIn's always been like my go-to for either at least booking meetings or finding ways to book meetings. And so I'd immediately start my day on LinkedIn. I'd find my prospects, connect with my prospects, engage with them, talk to them, etc. And like in the morning from like 8 to 10, 8 to 11, and even I'd say most days 8 to 12, it was like purely W2, I'm working on my full-time thing. And I was like, all right, now I can go spend a few more hours on referral because like I just booked 2 meetings, 3 meetings. And my whole thing was like, we always track things. So like my whole thing was as long as I do just as much or more from an output perspective, or it was not even from an output perspective than everybody else, I'm fine. I should be okay. So there was that. And then there was a lot of like you clock out of your day job and you just work. Like you just work. And it's really not for everybody. And I totally understand that. But my whole thing is like, when you start a side gig that then becomes your passion, and it definitely takes away from the amount of care you have in your full-time job. And so a lot of founders, like new founders or whatever, they kind of preach this, side gigs are fine. And then these old school companies are like, no, you cannot have a side gig while you're working here. I'm starting to understand that more and more, because every time I built a side gig, the more successful it got, the more I was geared towards making that work versus making my job work. Luckily, it didn't really ever affect me from like a quota attainment perspective or anything like that. And I think it all comes down to, because when I did my W-2 work, it was like, I'm not going to sit there and be distracted doing my W-2 work. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to bust my ass doing my W-2 work. Like you can, again, like we kind of talked about, these 8 hours in the day that you have to work, I bet you half of that time, or 40, 50% of that time is probably distractions and doing like low priority things to feel busy, and things that you probably don't even need to do. So that's it. It really came down to like, I just kind of planted it in the middle of my day after I made sure that I can have some wins at my W-2 job.
Oh yeah, excellent. Have you always been so entrepreneurial? Like when you were a kid, were you like going around house to house, shoveling driveways, mowing lawns, that kind of thing?
I tried it all, man. Yeah. My first
Yeah.
thing was essentially taking snacks from our pantry and selling it to like little construction workers. We were in like this new build community kind of thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't nice by any means. It was actually like it was very like we grew up pretty poor, and so it
Hmm.
was like this very like ran down new built neighborhood. And I would just take a wagon and sell snacks and Gatorades and stuff like that for $1 a pop. And then I realized like that is literally the second I realized, sweet, if I work, I can buy things I want. And so that's kind of
Yeah.
like I've always worked, and I've always thought of different things to try to build. And I shelved it because it was way too much time. I had like this newsletter where every week I gave the public a business idea, because I have like this notebook just full of business ideas. And so,
Hmm.
and I can't work on them all. So I keep shoveling them out there. But yeah, it took too much time to write that. But yeah, always.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like the other thing too, I'm sitting here listening to you and like I would just say you're probably someone who just kind of burns white hot. Like you're curious about a lot of things. You got the notebook full of business ideas. You latch on to one of your curiosities and you just, it's like your fun project that you're working on. So you clock out at 5 o'clock and you work on that until like, whatever, 9:30, but it's more energizing to you than like, running you down hard work or whatever. So has burnout ever been like an issue for you where it's like you're just burning white hot, you're doing all this stuff, and then eventually you're just like, oh, I need to slow down because like I'm getting sick, I'm getting anxious and agitated with people.
Yes. I'd say honestly, what I got burnt out from the most is actually building an audience on LinkedIn. I think
Hmm.
I think LinkedIn is extremely time consuming. I think it's extremely taxing. It's one of those platforms where the more effort and time you put into it, the more successful you're going to be on it, and the quicker you find that success on it. And so in the beginning, I remember in 2023 specifically last year, I actually even I just did like a webinar on this, and I shared a post that I made in January last year where it was like a couple hundred impressions and 3 likes, and they're all like my coworkers or something like that. And then
Hmm.
this year it's like now I have whatever, I think it's like 33K followers or something like that. So I showed this thing, and I told my wife, I was like, 2023 is my build year on LinkedIn, and like I know it'll be annoying. I'll be on the couch scrolling through LinkedIn, engaging with
Yeah.
people, and I know it's gonna get in the way of like having intention behind us hanging out. And like I was like, I know that, and
Hmm.
I'm well aware of it. But I was like, I just need to build. I was like, I think something will come from this if I just spend this year building, and it did, and it's paid
Yeah.
massively. And so, um, all that to say is LinkedIn burnt me the hell out. There were so many times where I had to like take a week break, or I'd get so exhausted, and like I just couldn't stand LinkedIn. Like
Yeah.
LinkedIn pisses, even to this day, LinkedIn is like, it's weird that I publicly post things, like, and then I go and hang out with friends and they're like, oh, the LinkedIn guy. I'm like, that's weird. Like, no, I hate attention. I hate this
Yeah.
whole influencer stuff, but I'm in it now and I can't get out of it because it's helped me so much. But so LinkedIn
Yeah.
is one. And then the other thing I would say, like with Dimmo, I work so much. But I'm very intentional. Like I barely work on weekends. And then after 5 p.m.,
Mm.
I'd say like 3 nights a week I work, 2 nights I don't. And that's kind of like a unspoken promise that I have with my wife, is like after
Good.
5 p.m., I'm gonna have a couple days where I don't work. But I'd say, like, for example, Wednesday of this week, what's today's date? November 15th. So whenever this comes out, Wednesday of this week, I think it was like the 13th or something. I usually wake up at 4 a.m. to work out, and like my body straight up said like no, and I slept in, and that was like the first time in a
Good.
while. And so I think that's kind of like my burnout is, it'll tell me when I try to, there we go. It'll tell me when I try
Nice.
to, I know, look at that. It'll tell me when I try to wake up early, and it'll be like, no,
Yeah.
you're tired, you're exhausted, you need to
Oh,
go.
that's
Luckily,
good.
luckily I haven't had any scenarios where I just lash out because I'm
Yeah.
so burnt out and pissed, but
Well,
not
that's
yet.
good, and that's good too that you're mindful enough to be like, hey, something's not right, and I need to slow down and just give myself a little bit of grace. And
Yeah.
my relationship with LinkedIn is very similar to yours. It's like what I find annoying is just trying to force interactions on other people's posts, like trying to engage. Like that's the part that just like sometimes I'll get really caffeinated and I can spend like 2 hours on there just doing like 20 good comments. But other times it's just like there's so much noise on there and there's so many. And some of the posts, it's like they're fucking novels, dude. And it's like, come on, man, get to the point. Like, I don't have 5 minutes to read this freaking instruction manual you put on here. So, like, for you, is it more annoying to create content or to like actually go and try to engage with the right people and read their stuff and leave comments?
Oh, it's a good question.
This is Noah. Noah sells software. He's not LinkedIn famous or anything, but he's a solid sales rep. And like a lot of us, he's faced some serious bad luck over the past few years. First, there was a layoff due to COVID, then came a rift due to economic headwinds. And just when he thought he'd found the right fit, the company he was at got acquired and he was let go shortly thereafter. Noah's resume looks bad, like really, really bad, and he worries that his luck is never going to change. He fears this pattern of bad luck is going to continue and he's going to be constantly looking for the right job. His confidence is at an all-time low. In his weakest moments, he wonders if maybe sales just isn't for him. It's not just about finding the next role, it's about finding stability and overcoming the perception that he's a job hopper and unreliable. Noah discovers a course called Elevate Your Sales Career, designing a 5-year plan for success. It promises to arm him with insights, knowledge, and frameworks to determine exactly what he needs to do to change his luck and turn his career around. After taking the course, Noah steps back into the job market with confidence and a reliable plan for a stable, successful future in sales.
Question. Probably engaging.
Yeah.
And I don't as much because now I don't know what the hell I used to. It was like it was a requirement for me to go and make like 20 plus comments a day on people's posts to grow.
Yeah.
Now that I somewhat have a kind of like this following that helps, I don't engage as much, but also it's like you just said, I'll refresh my timeline, just like a bunch of shit of people that I don't follow. I don't know how they even got there. And I'm like, what the hell? And then sometimes, rarely will like something actually hook me in and I'll read it. And then if I read it, I'll engage with it. Or if, like, for example, I have a friend who she's trying to build her audience on LinkedIn right now, like I'll engage with hers to help her out and push some people her way. But and there's multiple. There's a few founders that I've become really good friends with since Dimmo, and I'm like, all right, I'll comment on all your posts, and they'll be good comments because you're a founder, and I get the struggle. So yeah, the engagement it's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I actually found this. I'll email it to you after the thing. It's I forget the name of it, but it's an extension, and you can create custom feeds with like up to 28 people. So you can create, these are just like the 12 people that I want to engage with every single day. And boom, you just click it and you're just looking at their posts from the past 24 hours. So, but even that, I still suck at it and just like hot and cold, on or off, that's the way I do it.
Yeah.
And then I've been spending time on Twitter, which is like the butthole of the internet. It's just, I don't know if you're on Twitter. It is just like the worst place in the world, but like there's lots of really good sales content on there. So
I don't, and I wanted to go all in on Twitter, and I just didn't find the time because it's the same shit. It's like you spend a lot of time on there, you'll slowly start getting a buzz. But it's just like, how much time I can't spend all this time on all these damn platforms. So
how much do you need?
Yeah. So right now I'm like, LinkedIn's working for me. It's helping build Dimmo. It's helping like build my professional network. So I'm just going to double down on it.
Well, and now like, if I'm reading your LinkedIn experience right, for the first time, like your startup, it's not a side hustle anymore. This is your full-time deal. You're not working as an AE. It's been this way for a while. So like, how did you know when it was time to like go all in on something? And then how's it been? Like, from like a workload perspective, what's it been like, trying to manage 2 jobs and now you just have 1 job, but it is your company. So it's like a mega job, right?
Yeah, it is a mega job. How'd I know it was the time was when I got fired for doing too much Dimmo work.
All right. It was decided for you, huh?
Yeah, it was decided for me. I knew I was going to quit in about a month or 2. And I really needed that month or two, mainly because for house purchasing reasons. But all that, it all worked out and it's all fine. But yeah, to keep the story short, I was an enterprise sales rep at Proofpoint, and it was large enterprise. So it was like you had to live in your territory, which was North Carolina. I had some North Carolina accounts. I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina. But we got pregnant with the second kid, and then we're like, all right, we need family. We had 0 family in North Carolina. So we're like, let's go move up to Wisconsin, which is where I'm at now, Madison, Wisconsin.
Smart.
And so
beautiful.
We are here, and completely different vibe. Love it though. It's actually like really calm, really slow. I feel like I needed this in my life. But all that to say is I had to get a new job really quickly that allowed me to live in Wisconsin, because my Proofpoint job wasn't going to let me. I was doing really well, but it was the North Carolina position. Got a job, moved out to Wisconsin. A lot of other crazy shit happened with selling our home, all this stuff that like there's no reason to get into the details. But this new job was a small startup, and I let them know when I was getting onboarded, like, hey, I'm running this side gig and I just want to get approval. And they were like, yeah, as long as it's not competitive, that's fine. But 2 months into it, I had the founder, the CEO over there. He was like, hey, just want to let you know, like, you've made 96 posts in the last 2 months of being here. Not one of them have been about us, and almost all of them are about this Dimmo thing. Your heart's clearly somewhere else. And that's where I was like, now I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I would have hated me in that seat if I hired somebody and they did that. So I totally, and I even told him, I was like, look, I totally get it. Like, this is the right move. My heart is definitely over here. And so I was like, I get it. Like, yeah, I'll pack my bags virtually and head on out. And so yeah, man, I went full time, and I'm like, I look back and again, I wish maybe it was 2 months later, but outside of that, I'm like, I wake up every day and go to bed every day. I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, I get to wake up tomorrow and try to grind Dimmo. But the hardest part's the focus now, because there's a million things I can be doing. And so I actually just started with a new CEO coach yesterday, and she's badass. She's so great. And I already can tell, like, she's going to help me, like, make sure that I'm focusing on the important and urgent things and not like the low tasks that don't really matter kind of things.
No, that's awesome. That's unbelievable. Where'd you find the CEO coach?
The founder of Terminus actually introduced her to me. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. No, that's awesome. Well, it's super exciting time for you. What's do you want to give Dimmo a plug and just talk a little bit about what's next with Dimmo?
Sure. Yeah. So right now we launched Dimmo 6 months ago today. Look at that. Happy anniversary. Happy year anniversary, Dimmo. So thanks, man. We launched Dimmo 6 months ago. And when we first launched, it really was YouTube for businesses. Like, all you went on there to do was go and watch software demos. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot more that you can do. So you can actually like look into their entire FAQs. So if you want to know like how they use AI in their product, if you want to read about which customers they have and which challenges they solve for and why they're different from competitors, like all of that's already on there. But for Dimmo, what I want to do is, you have like G2, right? And they're amazing to go read reviews and stuff like that. But there's no one really playing in this, like, how do I evaluate and find the best technology based on features that I like or need and pain points that I have? And that's what we're trying to build. It's like, how do you type in a pain point? How do you type in a challenge? Or how do you type in a goal? Like, today we're hitting 0.87% of our pipeline numbers. We need to hit 1.5. What will help me with that in the cold calling space? Like, we want to be like, hey, will help you. Now tell me more about your company, right? Are you a 10-person company or are you a 10,000-person company? We're not going to recommend the same tech if you're a 10-person versus a 10,000-person company. Like, that just doesn't make sense. So that's Dimmo, and Dimmo.ai is the site. I don't really need, they'll find it. Search up Troy Munson. And all obviously, out of 96 posts, all I do is post about Dimmo. So, so yeah, man, I'm just trying to find a way to, no one loves evaluating software. So how do you evaluate software and then go inbound and have more of a strategic conversation with the sales rep?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. So I'm wondering about like your clients, if they're making their presence on Dimmo like a regular part of their sales and marketing funnel. Like, Oh, by the way, like, you're going to be in a competitive deal. Like we were talking before, like people just want to see the demo. It's like, I don't want to talk to a BDR and then have another call with a sales rep and then get my demo. I just want to see the demo to see if I'm actually going to like pursue this. Like, I don't know. I think if I was a sales rep and I was at a company that was a demo client, I might just be like, if someone was like really top of funnel and just like, oh, we're just kind of looking around and, seeing what's out there, I'd be like, here, go here. And then I'm going to follow up with you after, a few days and then we're going to have a real discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say that. So we're at this really interesting point where a lot of our customers are starting to develop like playbooks with demo. So like getting your demo plays and then webhooking it into Clay and putting it in a Clay table and then putting them in their own separate campaign for like demo viewers, which is awesome. I love that. So all that to say is like, we are just now understanding like what plays we can provide to all of our other customers to make sure that they get the most out of it. Cause we can't use demo, right? I can't dog food it because we're demo. Like we are the place. So all that to say is, every time we bring on a customer, and we're actually working on like a customer email campaign kind of thing to like make sure they have the best tips and practices right now. So every single time I'm on a call, I'm like, look, have your sales rep toss their demo link in some sort of sequence that they already have running. And it can be a simple thing as, look, if you don't want to take a full call with me, I totally understand. You can watch our demo here. If it sounds interesting, I'll be here to answer any questions. Like just some sort of soft ask, soft email where it's like, totally get it. I might not have deserved 30 minutes of your time yet. So you can just watch our demo. And if it makes sense, let me know. Like it's just that we tell all of our customers, like, put that in your outreach. You might as well. Like it's not going to hurt.
Yeah, I think that's a money move. And then I just love like creating that matrix like you're doing with like, pain points and features and then being able to type that in and be like, oh, you want to look at like these 4 companies,
Yeah, exactly. We gotta work on that. That's a big challenge, dude. Getting AI to respond accurately all the time is almost impossible, right? Like if it responds really well right now, but there's still where I'm like, damn it, I want it to be more of a journey. Like the way it works right now is you ask it a question, right? So I'm using Zoom Info. What should I look at today? And then it responds like, well, what don't you like about Zoom Info? Is it the price? Is it the contact data, et cetera? And then you answer that. And then it gives you like 5 recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to like, it's tough. We're trying to train it and optimize it to this, but I wanted like, that's exactly the workflow every single time. I wanted to continue to go like, hey, I don't feel confident that I supported your challenges. Can you tell me a little bit more? Like I really wanted to be like that first discovery call that we talked about. So yeah, we'll see. We'll get it there, but it's been a blast, man.
Good stuff. Well, really appreciate your time again, setting this up. I think it was a great call. I think, anyone listening who's in AE and they're thinking about starting something on the side, I think they're going to get, some great insights from you on this. So really appreciate it. And it was good meeting you too. And I hope, the stuff with drop off with your 2-year-old, I hope that, straightens out. I think you got a good system with hanging the coat and then walking in the door. So
yeah. It works until it doesn't. I know he'll find another thing to latch on to, but yeah, man, it was great meeting you as well. This is fun. I love doing these.
Cool. Good deal.
All right. Well, I was glad that I reached out to Troy and set up this interview. Super nice guy. It's great to have someone like this in my network now. And also like, he's like a handful of other people that I interviewed for season 2 of Pips and Pivots podcast that talked about like, one of the secrets to their success is really proactively seeking out outside coaching and mentorship. So I kind of feel like a slacker for not doing it, especially considering like I charge people for coaching and mentorship. Oh well. So connect with Troy on LinkedIn. Also go check out Dimmo, Dimmo. See if your company's on there. And if they are, like start using it in your sales process. I would think especially for like those customers that are tippy top of the funnel, they're just in awareness stage. You really don't want to spend too much time with them, but it's maybe a good account. Like get them into demo, looking at those recorded demos, and see if you can kind of asynchronously, in a hands-off way, move them through their buyer's journey a little bit better. And if you're selling at a company that isn't on demo and you think it's a good idea, like you should probably tell your manager and your VP of sales how great this would be for your sales process and connect them with Troy. We're all friends here in this little world. Please support me and the podcast. If you're enjoying it, like, subscribe, ask me questions in the comments. I will answer you. You have direct access to me for free, which is amazing, amazing value. And share this with friends too. Like if you think someone will like it, or if you're just like, man, look at this guy, Chris, like, I can't believe he's actually as old as he is and he looks this great. You know, and you just want to like pass it around and everyone can wonder at it. It's fine. You know, whatever gets it done. Do that for the podcast. Check out my website, free resources, free newsletter. Like I'm just giving so much value away for free. Go to my website and get it. DANKOW.SKI. And tune in next week. There's more of this. I love doing it. I hope you love listening to it. Thank you. Bye.